address of the origin of the school.
Okay.
And then so over time, now we moved here to this location in Harlem.
So the first location was on First Avenue.
Well, 120. It was on 125th Street, 1 West 125th Street. That was the first address.
You used to be outside arguing and cursing people out. I remember back in the day, you was wilding. You was like
still outside. Yeah, I'm still outside.
You got a little Hollywood. Got a little Hollywood.
I ain't getting no Hollywood. Man.
You're not outside like you used to be outside.
I was just outside like 3 weeks ago.
I take that back. I apologize.
Yeah, it's on camera.
I remember when I was younger,
right,
and I saw videos of you outside wilding.
A little bit. It's really because they wilding. Because when we go outside, you got to think about when we address of the
All right, Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, we begin this video by giving the praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kodash, the bonds to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord's elect, starting with the 144,000. This is a Ratazah from the Great Millstone GMS Atlanta camp. All right, with another video. This will use this snippet from the Queen's Flip interview that he did with Captain Tazariak and the ISUPK. You see this 6 days ago. All right, you can check the video out for yourself and whatnot. And I watched most of it, didn't watch the whole thing, but that particular part I clipped there, it kind of stood out to me. And what Queen's Flip what Queen's Flip said. He said, man, hold up, man. He said, you ain't really outside like that no more. I used to see you out teaching, cursing people out. And basically, in so many words, this was like some years ago. But you basically got a little Hollywood. You got a little Hollywood. You ain't really, basically, you're not really out there on the streets like that no more. Which is true. Right, Captain Zariak ain't going out like that. These other guys, guys in leadership positions in these other camps are not going out like that. Us here at Great Millstone, the standard is basically go out every week. And sometimes we go out multiple times a week. Certain brothers, and that's from the top. Our apostles, they out there every single week. These other groups and camps, they can't say the same thing for their leadership. They take months off, hell, if not years off. If they go out to teach, they may make a cameo appearance or like a guest appearance, right? If there's another church or school that opens up in a particular area, especially if it's in a major city, if it's like a camp or school opens up in a major city, the leadership maybe travel there, maybe do a class, do some type of fellowship, and then may go out and speak. But as far as like a weekly, just doing the work, just hardcore, just out, they're not doing that, man. Right? They satisfied with their podcast or their radio show. They do their current event. Live stream. A lot of times they don't be talking about. They be talking about stupid ass topics. Hip hop, and there's all types of stuff that don't got nothing to do with Yahweh Shem Yahushua and the prophecies, man. Yeah, so I think there, basically, Queen's Flip basically pulled his card, called him out. Hey, look, you ain't really out there like that, man. Yeah, you got a little Hollywood, and he did. All right. So I'm gonna get a couple of scriptures, all right, on going out to the highways and byways, teaching. That's the because they always talk about the work, doing the work. Well, the primary or the foundation of doing the work is going out to the highways and byways to teach. Really, everything else is supplemental. All right, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is like extra credit. Right, doing these weekly lessons, doing the videos. This is like extra credit, but the core of it is going out to the streets. All right. So let's go to, I think I have Matthew 22 up. All right. So this is Matthew 22 and verse, getting to the point for time's sake, verse 9. It says, go ye therefore into the highways and as many as ye find, bid to the marriage. See that? So this is a commandment or command, all right, from Yahushua to the disciples, okay, which we are the disciples of Yahushua today. And to what? Go out to the highways. Highways is what? The streets, all right? And it says, as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. The marriage basically means to be joined together. So he's supposed to be joining the members of the hopeful elect to the Lord, all right? Joining them back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua through the preaching of the word, all right? Through the word going out, man. I want to hit that quick point. It just came to mind. I think it's Micah 6 and 9. Right. This is Micah 6 and 9. This is the Lord's voice, which the Lord's voice is who? The prophets. All right. The Lord don't speak like we always say, all right. You're not going to hear a big, deep voice in the skies. Oh, yes, the Lord speaking to us. No, the Lord speaks the voices through the prophets, the men he set up on earth. It says, crieth unto the city. See that? How's that happening? It happens when you're out on the street corner, like Queens Flip say, like, yeah, I see you on the street cursing people out. You know, basically like, why you don't do that no more? Like, what happened? You got Hollywood now, right? This is the Lord's voice crieth out into the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name. Hear ye the rod, and who have appointed it. See that? Which the name of the Lord is what? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. The man of wisdom is going to exceed and not up. It goes the name again, right? A man of wisdom is going to see and acknowledge the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You know, and the name of the Lord is being taught on the street. Okay, we go out and teach in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and that's how his name gets published. All right. But the point is, it says the Lord's voice crieth unto the city. All right, the city. You know, you gotta be outdoors to be able to do that on the street corner. And we know it's going to speak about giving all diligence. You know, to make your calling election sure. All right, the Lord spoke about not taking your hand off the plow. At least you be fit for the kingdom of heaven. Roughly paraphrasing. And we know, looking back. All right, it's going to speak about being slothful. Matter of fact, let's get that in this is be fervent in spirit. I think that's Romans 10. But we'll look it up. Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. I'm positive it's Romans the 10th chapter. Let's see. Fervent spirit. Excuse me, Romans 12 in 10. Right, the point is in 11, but we start at 10. This is Romans 12 and 10. It says, be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. All right. Is a point. Verse 11, not slothful in business, right? The business is this truth. The things that pertain to the ministry of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which again, the foundation or the core of that is the street preaching, right? So to be slothful is what, last time I was out there was 3 weeks ago, a month ago. You know, I go out when the weather is, feasible. All right. You can't take breaks. All right. You can't be slothful in business. That's slothfulness. It says what? Fervent in spirit, which fervent goes back to fever, which means hot or on fire. It says serving the Lord. Right. This is rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality. So this is a pretty much a breakdown or a layout of how you're supposed to maneuver in the position you're supposed to take in as truth, right? Being on fire, being charitable, showing brotherly kindness and love, essentially being on point, man. All right, and not going out to speak consistently and just being comfortable, right? Doing your classes and your radio show. That ain't enough. Really, that's like extra credit, all right? And even then, they're not doing it right because they teaching the wrong thing. All right, the ISUPK in particular, all right, they're teaching that the mark of the beast is the sin, or Jesus Christ, or however they break it down. They're teaching that John the Baptist fell out the truth. It's just all just straight up madness, man. All right, let's end on that one. Total madness. Right, one was says to be instant in season, out of season. It's in, Timothy, right? So this is 2 Timothy 4:2. It says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, right? Yeah, so that there's all year round, right? Winter, right? Brothers is out there, and in the summer when the weather's fair, when the weather's not so fair, the word is supposed to be preached, right? It says be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. All right, so yeah, that's how we roll, man. That's the standard that's been set, and really. It's not no competition thing, but these other camps, they can't keep up with Great Millstone because the Spirit of the Lord dwells with us. All right, dwells the apostles and elders. And it works with the rest of the body too. Right, that's how we're able to go out weekly. Of course, it's all through the Lord's will and through His power, through the Spirit. But we're able to go out there and teach consistently, week after week. These other guys, they take breaks. Like I said, they take time off. They don't feel like it's, necessary to constantly preach, and they just do. They just not men of the Lord, man. Right? You can watch that interview. Like brother said, that interview tells a lot. All right, it shows that these other guys, especially that particular camp, they just ain't got it, man. They ain't got it. All right, so. I just wanted to do a video on that. That was that was funny, but very telling. Right, these guys is not on fire. They're not basically lukewarm. And they don't push the street teaching like that. They'll go out every now and then. Every now and then. Now they'll send out their the men under them. They'll probably go out every week, set up camp, and even then they probably don't even go out every week like that. It's like a, every now and then type of thing. But it shows that who's really diligent, who's really, putting their hand to the plow and really giving it all they might. And it's showing those who, really ain't doing the work like that, man. So, so with that, I'm going to sign off. All right, Lord willing, you was edified and informed by this video. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, by Hashem, Rachak Wadash, and on to the next one. Shalom.